My name is Amaka from Professional Solutions, and just like we told you earlier on, every week we get to feature a motivational personality on our platform, BM Talent Assist, and that's why we're here this morning. So I want to appreciate you once more for accepting our proposal invite and also giving us the opportunity to share your story with others too. So we'll just get right into it. We'd like you to introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, where you were born, and what you do. Let's get to know you.
Thank you very much. My name is Mrs. Olisakwe, and I'm from Imo State. Actually, I got into this business. The name of my business, first of all, is Need Design. We actually make design and produce clothes, African wears, African fabrics. We design, we produce, we do ready to wear, we do native, traditional marriage dresses, we also do wedding dresses. Actually got into this business after my husband got a new job here in Lagos. I was working with Exodus Electric as a site engineer. I studied electrical electronics engineering, and my job was paying very well. I even used to travel abroad then for the job. But when my husband came back to Lagos, he requested that we join him. I didn't have any choice. So I lost my wonderful job, well-paid job. And I came to Lagos, I was jobless. I was thinking of what should I do. I was looking for a job. My husband was also helping me to look for jobs, submitting CVs everywhere. But you know the country we are in is not that easy. So I told my husband that I don't want to continue sitting at home. I stayed at home for 6 good months. It was very frustrating. I was useless. So I told him I don't like sitting at home. Let me go and get trained. I want to do fashion and design. He said, no, you cannot. After studying electrical electronics engineering, you will now come and become a tailor. I said, it does not matter. I don't want to be idle and lazy. He refused. After a while, he agreed. So I went to somewhere and registered, and I did my training. By the grace of God on my side, it was very successful. I was still an apprentice when this shop came opposite my house. So my husband said I could make dresses for myself, for my children. In fact, anything traditional, I sew for them. I don't pay tailor to do the work. As an apprentice, I was just like 4 months on the training. And I was pregnant with my last child. So the stress of pregnancy could not stop me. And everything, I just put my effort. In that 4 months, that was on the around Ember month period, 2019. This shop came up. My husband said it would be rare to get shop like this, especially the one close to us like this. I can stay from shop and monitor what's going on in the house. So he rented the place for me as an apprentice. That was how I started this place. This place was opened on the 24th of December 2019. We started. Before you know it, in March there was lockdown. It was not easy, but we kept pushing. Before you know, they said they are making nose masks. We joined nose mask production, and God so blessed us. This shop has been very, very productive. The shop has been doing us very well. At a time after the lockdown, students were not going to school. Everybody was idle at home, but they lifted the lockdown a bit. I made an advert placement on the front of my shop here. I said that there is a bonanza. I'm slashing down money on training. If you see the rush, there was so much rush of trainees, people that wanted to get trained. I think there was a 60% slash down. And this my shop could not accommodate the number of apprentices that found out. Even up to now, I have a lot of apprentices. So there was a field of work that it's a gain work. There is never losses. It's either you gain from the clothes you're making, or you gain from apprenticeship as the people that come to train under you. So it's a field of work that I encourage anybody at all. It's something that a graduate can do, someone who just graduated from secondary school can do, someone who just graduated from primary school. As long as you can write 1, 2, 3, you can see numbers and you identify them. As long as you can, even when you don't know how to read properly, you can just see numbers and you identify them. A job that no matter your level, you can try very well. I've seen an illiterate who cannot read nor write. I don't know how she takes her measurement. I don't know what she used to write on the book, but she will just write something that to me does not make sense. But when she finished sewing, the product, the outcome of her work is excellent. It's very beautiful. So this tailoring work or fashion and designing is a work that anybody can do and succeed. It's just about determination and patience.
Okay. Wow, very impressive story. Let's backtrack a bit to your educational background. You said what you studied also, and then university you finished from.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, I studied electrical electronics engineering in Federal University of Technology, Owerri. I graduated and I did my NYSC.
Yes.
Then I got a job with Exodus Electric.
How long did you work in Exodus?
I worked with Exodus from 2014 up to 2016 when I relocated to Lagos.
Okay. Where was Exodus?
Exodus, the head office is in Port-Harcourt, but they got a contract with Ebonyi State, so I was transferred to Ebonyi State because I'm from Ebonyi State. So I will be able to manage the job there properly. So that was how I relocated to Ebonyi State from Port-Harcourt. So I worked with them in Ebonyi State between 2015 up to that late 2016 that I left.
Okay, so you moved to Lagos 2016. Okay, and then from that 2016, 6 months later, before you started apprenticeship with?
No, it's not 6 months later. It's 6 months after joblessness. I started telling my husband I needed something to do. It took him a long time to agree. Actually, I started training on March 2018. After 2 years, I relocated from Ebonyi State, or I left my job. I stayed 2 years of no work, no salary, nothing.
Okay, so when you were in university, going into fashion design was not something that you foresaw?
It was never as in my plan that I was going to end up being a fashion designer, because I even had opportunity as a student or as an undergraduate then to train. Even during my time of holiday, I had an aunt who had a shop like this, a very lucrative shop. She encouraged me. I used to visit almost every day during holidays. She would encourage me that say you should put eye in this work. You never can tell when it will be useful. I said, no, I don't want to be a tailor. So I just turned it down. I never knew that at a point in my life I would still have to go back, because she told me that I might need it in the future, and now it's putting food on my table by the grace of God.
So there was no other business that you had done before?
Shortly before my NYSC, while waiting for NYSC, I actually did some business. I traded on shoes. Those are bad shoes. I go to Abia, or I went to Abia that period, and I buy their product, local shoe, an Abia made shoe, and they were good. So I stayed in front of my brother's shop then in Port-Harcourt and displayed them, and I kept selling them until I got my call off later to do my NYSC.
Okay. What would you say has been your greatest challenge since you started this business?
Okay. First of all, my training period. When I started, a lot of things could have discouraged me. Number one, I was 4 months on. I was pregnant with my last child. I was 4 months. So it was not easy for me. I had 4 children already, and I was pregnant with a 5th child. So training was not easy. And then when I started my training, I didn't really have a housemaid. So I had the challenge of preparing my children for school first, drop them off in school, come back home, do some little chores, and then go to train. So it was not easy for me. That was my number one challenge. Secondly, where I trained, I didn't really get proper training. You know, sometimes if you are not opportune to be in a good hand or to train in a good place, the person training you can be a source of discouragement. So I didn't really get as much as I needed. But I didn't stop there. I didn't allow her to stop me. I went to, a lot of things are online. So I went to YouTube, I joined Facebook groups. I saw their experiences, I saw how they encourage themselves. So a lot of encouragement came from social media. And then currently my challenge as a shop owner, as a fashion designer, because by the grace of God, I have over 14 apprentices. My challenge now, number one, is NEPA. This our area, we don't have lights. Most times they give us at night. I think you see when they take it, they might not bring it again today till around 12 midnight, and we have it until dawn. sometimes if they happen to bring it, it might not last 1 hour or late highest 2 hours is gone, it's till midnight. So my number one challenge is the power supply. Fueling my gen is not cheap, it's very expensive. And then secondly, I actually want to do a deal on ready to wear, how to advertise my business, because it's a new business. Shortly after the shop was opened, there was lockdown. Okay. So I didn't really, my last year was not really as it should. You understand? My last year was full of lockdown, there were breaks, but we did, by the grace of God, I did a lot of exploit. But I know that if there was no lockdown, we could have done better by the grace of God. So my challenge now is how to bring my business to the public, because I go online, I see other people who are just known, like Lala, Valissimo, Pure Angel, they are doing very well. So I want to I want to be popular, as in get fame, get known. I want my work to go as in places that when you say that you made your clothes from hit up design, people will know that it's designers. So I want to go international. Right now, it's only one international job that I have done so far. I want more international jobs, as in people from abroad to order for my products, and I sew and send to them. So whichever way you can help me to take my work to the world, I really appreciate that.
Okay. How have you been able to balance work and then family?
Okay. Actually, it has not been easy, because I have 5 children. The oldest is 9 years. I have 5 children. The oldest is 9 years and is a boy. And a child of 9 cannot do much. And though I have a house help who is barely 14, apart from that, she is 14, she is small in size. She can't do much. So I have challenge of cooking late. Before I started this work, I don't used to cook late night. My children, they eat late. Sometimes before I finish cooking, they have gone to sleep. So the challenge I'm having is closing on time and going to prepare food and dinner for my children. It has not been very easy. So what I do in order to cut off, in order to be able to manage that well is my house help does some preparations. So once she's done with preparing what we are going to cook, she comes and calls me. Thank God my shop is very close. So I just go and cook. And some other times I close early and I do work in the midnight. When there is light, I come out and open the shop, close the door, I stay inside and work. So that's how I'm early. Anytime I have work overload, I work in the midnight. I don't sleep at night. I just come out and work all through the night. It will now make me to open late the next morning, but I will have to come and work in the night. So I will have time for my family. When they close from school, I check on them. If the food they are making to eat is just very simple, because only the food is cooked just for 1 hand. So that's how I'm able to balance family and work.
Okay, thank you. So what's your final words to anyone who is going into entrepreneurial work or going into fashion design? What is the one thing that you want them to know that you wish you had known before you went into the business?
Okay. Number one thing I would like them to know is that no knowledge is a waste. Every knowledge you acquire, whether you need it as at that moment that the opportunity comes up or you don't need it, don't hesitate to acquire it. Because when I was in my second year was when I was presented the opportunity to learn tailoring. If I had learned this work then, I would have been far. In fact, I would be longing to be like people like Pure Angel. By the grace of God, I should be ahead of them, because I know what I was able to achieve within my first 4 months of training, with pregnancy too. So if I was trained as far back as an undergraduate, coming out, I may not even want to work for any firm. Do you understand? So no knowledge is a waste. I was presented with so many opportunities that I never thought could be important or that could add to my life. So whenever one sees opportunity, In fact, it's not good to be idle. Even your holiday period as a student, you can use it to learn one trade. If it is, it's better you don't even get employed. As in, it's not good to work for people. It's good that people come to work for you. As in, being an entrepreneur is the best. Opportunity comes and it will go like that if you don't maximize it. So whenever you pursue an opportunity to get trained, I have students. A lot of my apprentices, the shop is empty now because most of them have gone back to school. A lot of them are students, undergraduates, and people have come to realize the importance of handwork. Before we see that is illiterates that go to do mechanic, they go to learn, mechanics are illiterate, tailors are illiterate, traders are illiterate. No, it's no longer like that these days because it's difficult to get a job. And sometimes when you do, it will not pay well. I know people that their salaries is 30,000 as family man, but here, one apprentice cannot pay 30,000 no matter whether you're training for 1 month. So to get trained is very important. And as for tailoring, it's number one handwork I will encourage anybody to learn, in the sense that I see this work as a gain all through. There is no losses. No matter how a tailor will tell you that, hey, this is your work, I don't get anything. It is very rare. It's not an impossible situation, but it's very rare. Tailoring materials, by the grace of God, are cheap. So there is no way you will charge a customer much money to sew clothes and you say you do not make any profit. There is a lot of profit in fashion and designing. There is a lot of profit, and it's not one-sided. You can own a shop and you still have some other things. Like I have pure water packed in front of my shop. Somebody will say, pure water, 10 naira. I make so much money from pure water. Sometimes I sold mineral too. It's very, you make profit from every dimension.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Olisakwe. I think what I admire so much about your story is that you've been consistently resilient when it comes to hard work and making sure that you succeed. And that's what I've really taken. And then what you said about no knowledge is a waste. I think that's a big lesson that we have to learn. So that's about it. But before we end this interview, I just want us to run through again, introduce yourself, like your name and then the name of your business and then
social media handle.
And yes, do you have any social media handle?
Okay, I actually have one in Instagram.
Okay, on Instagram.
Design, but it's as good as empty.
Yeah, you're on Instagram as FUTO Design.
FUTO Design, yes.
Okay,
yes,
just Instagram.
Instagram, yes.
Okay, so
Instagram.
since you mentioned that you want to create more awareness for your business through social media, I advise that you also open other accounts like there's Facebook, Twitter, and the rest. So then you can be posting your designs and then get your friends. If you get any customer you have, tell them, oh, I have an account with Instagram. You make sure they open it that moment and like or follow you. That's how you can also create more following. So just your name and then the name of your business side.
Once again, my name is Mrs. Patience Olisakwe, and my business is Port-Harcourt Designs.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are you a talent looking for a job or a boss looking for employees? Job searching and competitive recruitment just got easy on vmtalentassist.com. And the best part, it's absolutely free. Find the career you deserve on vmtalentassist.com. Find and recruit better candidates on vmtalentassist.com. On vmtalentassist.com, you can find your choices jobs and apply for them. Feature your resume on the homepage so employers can find you easily. Find free online courses, personalize your job alerts, get hints on scholarship programs, and much more. That's not all. As an employer, vmtalentassist.com offers you the platform to list your job vacancies or feature them on the homepage so that talents can find them easily. Manage your recruitment process professionally from start to finish. Feature your business as an inspirational enterprise story. Hire interns, freelancers, and full-time employees to suit your business needs. Shop for other services on the shop page. Visit www.vmtalentassist.com today and explore endless opportunities.